What's up, guys? I'm Steve-O. I'm in Vancouver at Rogers Arena, and I'm going to watch the Vancouver Canucks take on my Anaheim Ducks. You're watching Post to Post.
Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. And we're back for this report card series. This time we're going to talk about Vancouver. We've done pretty much all of the East, excluding Florida, because at the moment I don't know if they're going to make it now or not. So with that being said, if you're watching this months down the future, then I am filming this before the regular season ends. I'm doing this because I have to film so many videos. I've mentioned that in other videos that I've done in this series. I just wanted you guys to know in this video, in case this is your first. So some of the numbers that I'm going to go through in this video will be a little bit off, but they're so close it doesn't matter. So as with the other ones, I'm going to go through the statistics from last year, which you can find on this side, and then the statistics from this year, which you can find on this side of me. Those that are marked in green are improvements. Those that are marked in red are not improvements in comparison to the previous year, which is on this side. And after that, I'm going to go through some of the players and my thoughts on them and list them by points, most to least. And then I have a few topics around the team and franchise itself, some player related, some not. And that's, some of them are positive, some of them are negative, just things I want to talk about the team. Now, before I get into this is about this year. This isn't about prospects, and this isn't about what's to come next year or the year after or 5 years from now, or how do I think they're going to do in 10 years or 5 years or whatever. This is about this year. I will discuss Vancouver, my thoughts on Vancouver, leading up to next season, right before next season. So I'd like to do a preview video of every single team in the National Hockey League in the off season. So this video is just going to be on this season, comparing it to last season. Okay, so there's lots of statistics to go through. We're going to start off with league rank. And last year they were 29th. This year 26th. A little bit of improvement. Last year they had 69 points. This year they have 72. Obviously this number could change a little bit. Season's not over. Goals for last year 178. This year 216. Much in thanks to that guy Brock Besser. Goals for rank, they were 29th last year, 26th this year. Goals against 241 last year, 257 this year. So they're letting in a little more goals than last year, but not a lot. There's been a few issues on the back end in Vancouver, that's for sure. Goals against ranked 25th last year, 26th this year. Differential was a minus 61, and this year they're a minus 45. So obviously still not good, but an improvement. Differential ranked 29th this year, 27th. Power play percentage 14.1 last year, 21.8. That's an absolutely massive jump in a power play percentage. Much in thanks to Travis Green. I really like Travis Green. I'm going to talk about him a little bit later, but I think he's the propellant there for that. So they went from 29th last year to 8th in power play percentage. That's a huge jump. Top 10 team in power play. That's pretty good. Penalty kill 76.7, 78.5 this year. Last year they ranked 28th in that category. This year 21st. Shots per game. Last year 27.7. 30 this year, so they're getting basically just over 2 shots more per game this year, which is awesome. Still, they're ranked 28th, and they were 30th last year, so still not great. Shots against per game, 31.8 last year, 32.2 this year. Last year, they were ranked 25th in that category. This year, they're ranked 18th. And then last is the face-off percentages, 51.1. In ninth place last year, they were a top 10 face-off team, but this year they're down to 49.6, and that puts them in 18th place. If we move on over to the players, we have Brock Besser leading the team with 55 points in 62 games. Then we have Daniel Sedin with 55 points in 80 games or 81 games or something like that. And then Henrik Sedin has 50 points. Horvat 44. Edler 34. When Edler's your 5th most point getter on your team, you kind of have a little bit of a problem. That's not a shot against Edler. I really like Edler, but he shouldn't be in your top 5 in points on your team. Gagne's next, 31. Berthier is next with 29. Sutter, 25. Eriksson, 23. Pouliot, 22. Delzato, 21. And Virtanen, 20. If we just discuss the goalies a little bit, Markstrom played the majority of the games this year at 60. He had 23 wins, 26 losses, 2.71 goals against average, .912 save percentage. Pretty average numbers in the league. Not, I wouldn't say terrible, but not marvelous. Just average, I'd say. And then Nilsson, 26 games played, 7 wins, 14 losses, 3.52 goals against average, and a .900 save percentage. So worse numbers for him. Markstrom definitely played better. He saw more time on the ice. Sometimes it's hard to gauge the backups numbers to the starters numbers because they go through rhythms. Sorry, Jake Allen is a perfect example of that. He's so hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. If he was a backup and played 20 games in a cold streak, his numbers would be pretty bad. But if in those 20 games you got Jake Allen in his hot streak, he'd be the best goalie in the National Hockey League. So it's a bit hard to compare, but that's the best that we can do. So if we just go back up to the players, just super quick, goals, Besser with 29, Daniel Sedin with 23, and Horvat with 22. So they only have 3 players over 20 plus goals this year. But Henrik Sedin is in the 40 plus range in assists. He's got 47, 3 goals and 47 assists. That's a pretty significant difference between goals and assists, which isn't unusual for him, but it's more of a stretch or a difference than his career average, I guess. But the Sedins, we kind of made a video about them last week. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But that's actually one of my points down here. So I'm going to jump right on down into the storylines. And the first one I have is Travis Green. Listen, he's a new coach. He's learning the ropes a little bit. I really, really like Travis Green. I like Travis Green a lot. When they started the season, they were extremely competitive for probably the first maybe a month and a half or 2 months. I remember seeing them up in the standings quite a bit. Top 2, maybe. I think they were first for a while. And then they dropped pretty significantly. Unfortunately, some things did happen. Derek Dorsett had an absolutely amazing start. He was a goal-scoring machine, and then the unpredictable news broke that he was going to hang up the skates due to illness. That was really tough. That was really tough to hear for Vancouver fans, for hockey fans in general, and obviously for the Vancouver Canucks, because he was on pace to have an absolutely career season. So that's very unfortunate. Sedin's retiring. Like I said, I already made a video about this. I already talked about it. It's incredibly unfortunate for Swedish fans, for hockey fans in general. One of the most respected players in the league, and then there's 2 of them. So that duo is just amazing. They've done such great things for the Canucks on and off the ice, especially off the ice. They do a lot of stuff off the ice. And I believe they want to stay in Vancouver after this year. So it's unfortunate that they're retiring, but still cool that they could be part of the organization somehow next year. They traded Jordan Subban for Nick Dowd, and this happened December 8th, I believe, or December 4th, something like that. And this surprised me a little bit because when Subban, the youngest of the 3 Subban brothers, got drafted a couple of years ago, I was kind of jelly because at the time PK Subban still played for my Montreal Canadiens, and I was hoping that the Canadiens would draft Jordan Subban, so there would be 2 Subans on the Canadiens. And now there's none, and now there's none on Vancouver either because Jordan Subban got traded, and it shocked me a little bit. The scouting report on him said that he was the best of all of the Subans, so it's unfortunately not turning into that at the moment. But I wish him all the best, and hopefully he does well. Eriksson, Vancouver. I've talked to so many Vancouver fans about Eriksson, and the consensus is why, why do we have him? Why do we have his contract? He's not fitting in. He's not fitting in with the Sedins. He was quoted saying that he came to Vancouver because he wanted to play with the Sedins. He had success with them, playing with them internationally on Team Sweden, and it just hasn't worked out in Vancouver. His numbers have gone down since he's come in. I understand that there's injury issues. It happens to every player, but I think it's more than injuries with Eriksson in Vancouver. He's just not fitting in. Some people just don't fit in on teams. It's just not meant to be. Vanek really, really wanted to play with the Minnesota Wild, and he got a chance, and he did not do well. And then we saw Eric Stahl actually join Minnesota and is doing phenomenal. So sometimes players just don't fit, and I don't think Eriksson fits in Vancouver, especially not for his insane contract, in my opinion. You can disagree. I'm just not a fan of the contract and his performance in Vancouver. Sorry for the little cut in the video there. Someone came to the door asking for money. Please don't come to my door asking for money. Thanks. Okay, so last thing on my list here is young talent development. They've got Horvat, Besser, Mott, Vertanen, Gaudet, Leipzig, Gans, Goldobin, Stetcher, and Hutton. I mean, Hutton's 25. That's still young in my books. Still lots of time to grow for all those young guys. There's so much talent there. I mean, Besser alone and Horvat, those two guys are going to be the future for Vancouver, hopefully. And I don't think they could be any happier with Besser specifically this year. I can't see it being a blip. I don't think it's going to be something that is a one-time thing. Like I don't know. I think he's the real deal. I've heard some people say that he's not, that this is just a fluke. I don't buy that at all. I think he is the real deal, and I hope he's the real deal. And I think Vancouver fans have a very bright future ahead of them. They have lots of young talent, lots of room to grow. With the Sedins leaving this year, that means that there's $14 million off the table, and room for them to sign some people next year. And I'll leave the next year talk at that. I'll discuss the Vancouver Canucks a lot more in the offseason. Thank you guys very much for watching this specific video. I really appreciate it. As far as a letter grade for Vancouver, I don't really know. I'll put it in the thumbnail. I kind of decide afterwards. It's not really about the letter grade. I know this is called a report card, and there should be a grade. I don't really care what the grade is. I don't really care about the letter. It's about the words that's in the video, not the letter that's on the thumbnail. So just ignore the letter. It's not really a big deal. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys are having a good day. If you're not subscribed, I hope you can hit the subscribe button. If you did like this video, please hit the like button down below. That helps us a lot. And I'll see you in the next one where I discuss the Arizona Coyotes. Adios.